What's up, everybody? Welcome to Human Innovation Tarot. My name is Eddie with Imagine Life Development Center. And in this video, I'm going to be doing something new that I've never done before. Before we jump into the reading, there's already some cards out on the table because I was recording this before and I had some technical issues and I had to stop the recording. And start over again. So with that being said, if you're new to my channel, I'd greatly appreciate it if you would click the like, comment, share, subscribe button, all the buttons, and we'll just go ahead and jump straight in. So I've never done a reading like this before. It's been my intention to do it for a while. I just haven't got around to doing it until now. So this reading really it's a collective reading. It's an all signs reading, and it's intended for other readers or people who are really just, you feel like you have a calling in your life or on your life. You feel called to spirituality in some way, shape, or form. And that could be in anything, right? It could be a spiritual teacher, a tarot reader, a healer, anything having to do with spirituality. You feel like you could be in a position of leadership, an entrepreneur. This is really designed for the people who are giving to others, right? So, for example, if you're a reader, then typically you're reading for the collective, right? But who's doing the readings for you? And I get it. Like, as readers, we probably watch. We have readers that we watch, right? Like, there's certain readers that I watch. I'm sure you have readers that you watch. I mean, we're all part of the collective. But this reading is really designed specifically for those who are readers, right? Those who, are serving others. And that doesn't mean that if you don't read tarot or you don't have a YouTube channel that you can't watch this, because again, it goes beyond that. Like you could be a Reiki healer, or you could have a spiritual business of some sort, right? So this is really about anybody that's in a position of leadership of some sort. Okay, if that makes sense. All right. So with that being said, I pulled some astrology cards here, and I'll go through what this means. And I've also pulled an archetype card, and that was as far as I got until I had to restart or re-record the reading that I was just doing. So let's start here. So these are obviously astrology cards. Now, this information may be directly related to you. It could be related to somebody that you're dealing with, or somebody that's important in your life, or somebody that's coming up in your life. This could have to do with, astrology, transits and current shifts and changes in energy that we're all going through collectively, like the moon cycles and whatever else is going on. I didn't check before I did this reading, so I don't know like what the current astrology happenings are. But but it's going to be either something that's happening collectively right now, or these will be things that relate to you in your astrology chart. So you'll this part of it will be very specific to you, because obviously only you will know what you have in your chart. So first thing here is Neptune. So again, for most of you, unless there's something going on with Neptune right now, which I don't think there is, this could be a sign for you guys to go check your Neptune placement, because there may be something related to whatever you have in Neptune, or however that relates to you in your astrology chart. There's something there for you. Otherwise, it wouldn't have come out. We have Geminis next. So you could be a Gemini. You could be dealing with a Gemini. Or this, again, is talking about there's something in your astrological chart. You have a placement. Wherever that placement in Gemini is, like, check that out. Research it. Go see what's happening for you in that energy. Also tied to the Lover's card in tarot, we have the 11th house here. So many of you need to check and see what's going on with you in your 11th house placement right now. The collective energies may be influencing or affecting you in that regard. We have the moon here, which talks about the moon phases, but I'm also, I think this is also tied to the moon card, the Moon Tarot card, obviously as well, which is interesting because we have Cancer right next door, which is tied to Moon energy and Tarot as well, right? So, you could be a Cancer dealing with a Cancer, or you need to check and see if you have Cancer in your chart somewhere or where that placement is, right? And then over here, we have the archetype card called Aletheia, all right? And so this card is all about telling the truth. It's about clarity, revelation. It's kind of got a mixture of like the hangman energy in terms of, seeing a new perspective. And it's also got like the energy of the sun, at least the clarity energy of the sun, right? I know most, typically when the sun comes out in tarot, we tend to gravitate towards it being, the happiest card in tarot, in the tarot deck, right? The most positive energy. But it's also a card of illumination. And I feel that that aspect or that energy of the card gets kind of put in the back seat and forgotten about a lot of times, because the positivity and the happy vibe that's so often associated with the sun is what dominates, that card's energy. But what I'm feeling that this card here being on the table is really is bringing forth more of that clarity, the illumination, right? So that's really what this energy is about. Now on the bad side, so this could go either way. And again, you guys being, spiritual teachers, tarot readers, energy readers, this reading will really depend on you tuning into your intuition in where you stand with this. In other words, you being completely honest with yourself and where you're at, because that's what this reading is intended for. It's to help us know what we need to be doing to advance in our spiritual development, but also advance on our spiritual path, and how we can help the collective and also grow our spiritual businesses, our practices, overcome our own hurdles, obstacles, and challenges, right? So on the negative side or the dark side of this card, or if we were dealing with tarot, perhaps maybe the reverse side, this is about obviously lying, distorted energy, gaslighting, things like that. So, depending on how this relates to you and whatever else comes out on the table in just a minute, we'll see when the bigger pictures, the bigger pieces of the picture unfold here. So I kind of just came into this not really knowing, where this would go. This is completely impromptu, and that's how I'm just going to keep going with it. So we'll just see what else comes out here. So what does the collective need to know here about what's most important for my fellow tarot readers, my spiritual teachers, my fellow brothers and sisters out there fighting the good fight? Okay, we have Prisoner here. Now this deck that I'm using now is a personal deck that I made for myself. I have a bunch of oracle cards like many of you do, but they didn't quite have what I needed to fill in some of the gaps depending on the types of readings that I was doing. So I just created my own. And I may or may not, try to sell them down the road. I don't know. All right, so we have the Divine Feminine. So yeah, there's a lot of well, let me get one more here before I open my mouth. But I'm going to tell you guys right now that what I'm getting is this Divine Feminine energy is definitely feedbacking off the moon in Cancer. So we have a lot of water energy that I'm feeling coming through right now. Or just emotions, and definitely a lot of intuitive energy. And then we have excitement. All right, so this is cool. I'm being challenged here, by the way, because obviously I am just doing an intuitive read here. I'm not really, like I said, I came here impromptu. This wasn't like, this wasn't planned. I didn't have like a specific type of spread or specific questions I had in mind. It was just really more of what the universe wants to, and spirit wants to say to us, right? And then I'm just going to try to allow the messages to come through intuitively here. So with this prisoner energy, basically, well, first of all, let me back up and say that when the divine feminine energy hit the table, what I felt mostly was that there's a great deal of collective energy right now that's not being utilized. Like I could feel there was a pool, basically, like a dam, and it's almost like this prisoner energy to me is more like thinking about like a dam, like an actual dam. Like, they build dams to prevent water from, it's like a block, right? And sometimes that's necessary. Sometimes, we need to know when to shut off we need to know when to shut off our mind, but sometimes we also need to know when to shut off our energy fields, especially those of you out there who are highly sensitive people, you're empathic. I mean, I think most people who probably do this probably are to some degree highly sensitive in your own way or very empathic, right? At least that seems to be the case. I don't want to, stereotype or generalize too much there. But this prisoner energy to me feels like a dam. There's this barrier, there's this wall. Where, and again, there's two sides of it, which play over here to the archetype card, the Aletheia card we have over here, right? So on the good side of things, there is this pool. Like there is this growing pool. It's almost kind of like drilling down into the ground and you strike oil or water. Like you weren't intending to. It just kind of happened. Like you just happen to be drilling down into the ground or digging with a shovel, and then boom, you hit a natural spring. A spring of water comes up, right? Or you hit gold, and you're like, oh my gosh, hit gold. You hit oil, right? Same thing, right? I had to catch myself there. Which is very valuable. It's like if you hit oil on your land, that would be life-changing for you, because then you could reach out to an oil company and say, hey, I just hit oil on my property, I think. And then they could come out and they could verify it. And then you sell them the land. And, depending on how much oil they think is producible from that, you could potentially negotiate millions of dollars, because they'll make that easily, right? If they put one of those oil pumps on there. So the reason I'm saying this is that there is a pool of energy, that intuitive energy that that's becoming available to the collective, those of us spiritually, and it's not being tapped into yet. In other words, to go back to the striking oil analogy, Spirit is saying, like, and it's not just for one person, but I'm just going to use the analogy in that regard, right? It's like, here's all of this potential, new ideas, new innovations, new downloads, new messages, like there's a whole realm, right? Like there's this whole fertile, rich, abundant pool here to tap into, and no one's tapping into it, really. Not the way that we could be tapping into it. And so Spirit is saying, hey, tap into this reservoir that's it's like there's more than enough here for all of you guys to tap into, right? And it's one thing to like drill down and like maybe you hit a little something, right? But it's another when you hit like an actual, you drill down and you get like an actual, I don't know what they call it, right? Like I don't know if there's a word for it, like a pool of oil or something. Like I don't know anything about oil, but when you strike it, if there's enough there, then there should technically be a lot, right? Whereas if you were just digging down and maybe you saw a little hint of something, but that was it. It was like, well, it looks like maybe once upon a time there used to be something down here in the ground, but there's not really anything there now, right? And so basically, without getting caught up on this analogy. Spirit is saying is, for some of you, you need to block out, do a better job of protecting your energy because it's valuable. So that's kind of the prison energy here, right? It's like some people need to be in your prison, so to speak. You need to, and it's, or in a sense, you need to put yourself in prison because that would create separation from you and them. However you want to look at it. They need to be in prison to be separated from you, or you need to put yourself in prison to separate yourself from them, right? Really, again, it just goes back to having your boundaries up, having a wall, space. Now, for the rest of us, this is saying that there is this energy that's been building up behind the dam, all this collective energy that's not being tapped into right now. We don't see it with the moon. We haven't necessarily been aware of it. And there's a lot of excitement collectively when we tap into it and access it. You know, it's like, it's a whole new wave, right? It's like, this isn't, last year's, super nasty old soda out of the ancient, fountain machine or something. Or, this isn't the leftovers from the party. This isn't like, hey, when, like when you get, you buy like a 2 liter of Coke or something, right? And when it gets down for whatever reason, it gets down to like just a little bit left. It's not strong anymore, right? It doesn't have the kick anymore and it goes flat, that kind of thing. It's like, that's not what this is. That energy is subsiding, right? That's come and gone. Spirit is saying that there is a brand new wave of this collective energy. Again, downloads, creativity, business ideas. There's a whole new wave of energy that's coming in for those of us that are waiting to access it, on a spiritual level. Those of us who are awakened to this and understand this stuff, we'll be able to access this and ride this energy and basically utilize it for our own benefit and our own growth, because that's part of it, but also to serve the collective. So it's brand new stuff, but it's very valuable stuff, and there's a lot of it to go around, because I do feel like we're moving into a season collectively where, we need these new revelations. We need these new ways of doing things, these new ideas, creativities, inventions, and inspirations, and all these things to counterbalance where we've been going collectively in our world. All the craziness that's been going on, since COVID and these last 4 years. I mean, I know it's been going on even prior to COVID, but it's just been a different world post-COVID. So I think, again, that whatever this energy is that's coming through, it's very exciting here. And that's what this is really essentially saying, is there's an exciting time here for us if we are willing to tap into it. All right, let's go here. I'm just looking over at all my decks here and just grabbing the ones that are calling to me. I'll put a little bit more thought into when I do the next one of these, because I really want to make these, I want to do these readings often, a few times a month at least. Okay, appreciation. Number 15. That's today. Today's the 15th. I'm recording this on May 15th. And so this card says the 15th here. So there's, let me get one or two more from this deck. Whoa. All right. We have carrying connections at the bottom. All right, so let's see what else we have. Okay, so we have all tied up, which is obviously like an 8 of Swords energy, and then we have prisoner over here, which for my deck is also an 8 of Swords energy. So a lot of just overthinking, second guessing, And then, and then we have the thinking woman over here, which is interesting because this is and in this particular oracle deck, this is like air sign type of energy. You have the thinking man, like you have one of each. There's the thinking man, the thinking woman, and then there's, you know, a man holding a coin, a woman holding a coin, and then there's a man holding a heart and a woman holding a heart. Like that, it's there to represent the court cards in tarot. It's like the same spinoff. So this is like thinking energy, obviously, thinking woman. We have Gemini over here. So again, that could be tied to this Gemini energy in astrology. Libra, Gemini here, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius here. Doesn't have to be. But what I'm seeing here is there's obviously, because we have, these two cards are feedbacking off of each other for sure. I feel like there's a lot of overthinking collectively here. And with the appreciation card that's here, and then the fact that we have caring connections at the bottom here, I think that for a lot of you guys out there that are not in relationships, you're single, and some of you that could be in relationships as well, you know, this could be, you could be having some challenges right now in your relationships, or maybe you've been in a challenging season. And you've just had a lot of uncertainty where some of you guys have really been questioning, you know, like your relationships. Have you been feeling appreciated? Have you been feeling like your needs are getting met? If you're single, you know, I feel like, and again, I don't want to speak for everybody, obviously, but I feel like for a lot of you, you may be trying to pretend like you're okay single, but you're really not. Like you do feel lonely. And I'm not saying that you're letting it control you or rule your life, or you're not, you know, that you're letting it prevent you from doing, obviously, your spiritual work, your business, or whatever you do. It's not stopping you from living life, but I think that every once in a while, it does really catch up. And, you know, I think for most of us, it's probably, you know, when there are celebrations, there's parties, there's holidays, or when we're, you know, maybe when we have extra time on our hands or before we're going to sleep, right? It's because we're not preoccupied. We're not being distracted by anything else. So we have a moment to really notice, like, hey, you know, like, kind of sucks being alone all the time. So I do feel a little bit of that energy is definitely here as well. And I believe that, you know, kind of going back towards the other side of us here, for those that are in relationships, I think a lot of you guys, again, not all of you, but, you know, however, you know, I would say at least half of you that are in relationships right now, you may be, again, just going through tough times right now. Or some of you could just be in toxic relationships, and you know you're in toxic relationships. And I think if we're honest with ourselves as spiritual people, I think we tend to attract the empathic / narcissist dynamics, right? I know that in my life, I've had those experiences. So I know that you guys you've had those experiences too, right? And so that's just one of these things that I think, you know, it's difficult because we have to get honest with that. We have to be honest enough with ourselves to know when to call a spade and say, hey, this relationship is toxic. No matter how much I love this person, how much I care about this person, I may need to let them go. I may need to cut this person out of my life. I may need to prioritize myself, work on my own inner healing and my own trauma, because no matter how spiritual you are, you're just as human as everybody else is, you know, and no matter how gifted you are, you're still as human as everybody else. And so I always like to think of the airplane analogy, right? When you get on an airplane, they walk you through all the safety protocols of what to do if there's an issue. Well, one of those protocols is the mask, right? And what do they tell you to do? Before you start helping anyone else, you put your mask on yourself first, and then help the person next to you or whoever's around you help them with their mask or help them with whatever they need. And I feel like sometimes we have a hard time doing that as empaths, spiritual people, because we understand that the true essence and the true nature of being one with our source and ourselves and the collective is about serving others. It's about contribution. It's about love. It's about giving, right? And sometimes we do that so much so at the expense of ourselves, right? We overgive. We put ourselves last. So I feel like, again, kind of two different groups of people there. Now, for the rest of you, where these cards are not necessarily speaking to relationships or, feeling undervalued or not feeling appreciated. This is really, I feel like, overthinking. I'm feeling like some of the energy I'm getting is like a stuckness. Like you don't know how to grow beyond where you are. You don't know if you're making a difference. You don't know if it's worth your time and energy to, if you're a reader, to keep putting out readings. It's like, it doesn't really seem like anybody's watching them. It's not really, I don't feel like anything's coming back from it. Like there's no return on the investment. If it's, you're trying to start a spiritual business, you feel kind of stuck because it doesn't really feel like anyone's interested in what you offer. If you're, maybe trying to, just for example, maybe you're wanting to start like a yoga studio, or you're wanting to start, a sound healing class, or, you're wanting to start doing, Reiki or past life regressions or something. And you're finding it really hard to find customers or people that are interested in, paying you for your services or just any type of interest at all. So, it's like you feel, that you have a calling, and this is where it can be hard. This is where we get in our head about it. It's like, that you're passionate about this, that this is like your purpose in life, that you feel called to do this. And, if you could do it, even if you had all the money in the world, you had, millions of dollars in the bank, it wouldn't change your decision. It's like, I would still get up, I would still go to work, and I would still do this thing, whatever that thing is for you, whether it's doing tarot readings, whether it's Reiki, whether it's yoga, whether it's sound, whether it's, past life regressions, like it doesn't matter. You could be a bajillionaire and it wouldn't change the fact that that this thing that you have to do is your passion and purpose in life, right? And that's how when you found your passion and purpose in life, is that no matter how wealthy that you are, it wouldn't prevent you or stop you from doing the thing that you've been called to do, right? So what I'm feeling in that regard, and how it ties back here to the energy that I was picking up on, is that some of you guys are, in this kind of Eight of Swords energy, this tied up energy here, and this prisoner energy where it's just feeling like, like there's no cultivation. You've planted the seed, you've watered the seed, and you're not seeing any growth. And it's starting to affect you because you're starting to wonder, well, is this ever going to be a thing for me? Or have I chosen this calling, or is this calling chosen me? And there's just not a need for it, right? And I think, we're all human, so we all overthink things like that sometimes. Sometimes we get stuck in our head. We listen to the voice in our head. We doubt ourselves. We doubt, we doubt the fact that there could be a need for the thing that's been put inside of us, that we feel that we've been brought into this world, or we've incarnated to contribute with, right? Or contribute to, or to give, or provide, whatever that thing is. And so when you're not seeing evidence that there's a need for the thing that you're here to give, because nobody seems interested in it, it makes you question yourself. And you're like, well, is this the right calling for me? Is this what I need to do? I don't know. And so that affects how appreciated you feel, but it's also affecting you in terms of like, well, I don't really know what else to do. And so now you start to feel a little bit purpose depressed because you're not getting to do the thing that you love to do, because you're not really seeing any desire or need for it, right? And that's kind of what I'm getting out of all of this, with that energy. And the reason that it would be coming out is not just to speak the obvious, like, well, okay, Eddie, that's great. Tell me something that I don't know, right? But it's because Spirit is actually wanting to remind you. It's like, these are things for us to become aware of, going back to this Aletheia card energy, right? Which is, if this were a tarot card and the upright position was positive, like the sun energy, illumination, seeing things being illuminated, and the reverse is kind of like a distortion type of energy. That's what this is reminding us here, saying, hey, which energy are we choosing here? Are we choosing love? Or are we choosing fear? Are we choosing scarcity? Or are we choosing abundance? Like, where are we in our thinking right now? How are we allowing our current circumstances, which are not our forever circumstances, to affect our thinking, right? Because as we all know, energy is everything, and what we focus on is where our energy goes. That's what we create. And so we have to become aware of how we're allowing the world to affect and influence us, because if we allow our circumstances that are outside of us to wear on us too much, then we'll become powerless, and we'll think that we aren't the creators that we've been taught to be, or that we've once believed we were, right? And so we start to give all that power away, instead of kind of coming back into ourselves and reclaiming our power and saying, hey, I don't know how things necessarily always work, because there's faith involved. There's what I'm responsible for, and then we take our power and we do what we are responsible for doing, and then we have to hand over the rest to the universe and let the universe meet us halfway, right? So as long as you're doing your part, then the universe will be doing its part, and that's where we have to just have faith and be detached from the outcome and embrace uncertainty. And go, I don't know how this is going to, I don't know how the journey is going to unfold from here, but I know that I'm doing my part, right? Everything happens in seasons and cycles, just like spring, summer, winter, and fall, right? And so sometimes we start a venture in winter, and and because we're getting started in a collective season of winter, we're planting seeds, but we don't realize is you can't plant seeds in winter. That's not the right time. So if you're just getting started in a winter season, the better thing to do is to keep working on yourself and your skills to get ready for spring, because spring is coming up, and then it'll be time to plant those seeds that you have, right? So, and we don't get to choose that part of it. We don't get to choose when we come into whatever collective cycle that we're all in. Right? It's like we don't get to choose the seasons. Like, if you like summer and you're like, well, I wish it was summer all year round. We don't get to change that, right? Like in the Northern Hemisphere, we're coming out of, we're like late spring moving towards summer. It's June in the Northern Hemisphere, right? So in the Southern Hemisphere, I'm guessing you guys are in late fall headed towards winter, because you're the opposite, right? And it's like, well, if you hate winter because you hate the cold, there's nothing you can do about it. You have to wait. Eventually, you'll get through winter, and then spring will roll around, and things will get warmer again, right? It's just the nature of life. So the point of all this is saying here is that the Eight of Swords energy that's showing up in this card and in this card, and this is central, because I feel like anytime we're doing a reading, right, or anytime that we're listening to a reading and an energy shows up, a hurdle, obstacle, or challenge that relates to us, that's something we need to pinpoint and pay the most attention to. Of course, it's easy to want to gravitate towards the positive things, like, oh my gosh, there's going to be this great success. You're going to make all this money, and then you're going to have this explosive growth, and the love of your life is going to come in, and this thing is going to happen. It's like, we get excited about that because it's good. And these are the types of things that we all are working towards, and we all like to reap and benefit, right? And so we don't like to hear the bad news. We don't like to encounter the hurdles, obstacles, and challenges. But for me, those are the things that I want to know about. I want to know what's going to be holding me back, because I want to know where my power is. I want to know what I need to fix, where I need to focus on to unkink the water hose so that I can allow my energy to flow so I can be reaping those things. I don't want to just be focused on the things that I want that could be coming to me, and being blind to the things that are preventing those things coming to me, right? Because I'll never see those things. Those things will never become a reality in my life until I clear the blocks that could be preventing the success or whatever those things are. So I think it's always good to focus specifically on any challenges, right? And so that's kind of what I do in my readings. When it comes out, I just let Spirit say what it wants to say about those challenges, because I feel like when we deal with these problems, then everything is going to open up to us. And for some of us, that's the reason why we haven't tapped into what I was saying at the beginning of the reading. There's that reservoir of waiting that nobody's tapping into right now, or very few people are tapping into right now. And that's because a lot of us are, we're in our head, we have a scarcity mentality, we're distracted because this thing or that thing, or there's this, negative relationship or a toxic thing or whatever, all these different things that are robbing us from either our energy or our attention or our awareness, whatever it is that's around us, that's keeping us in this tied up energy, which is cutting us off from what's available to us, what's accessible to us, right? That is meant for us. So I feel like I could go on forever with that, but we need to keep going here. All right, let's see what the wisdom of the oracle wants to say. Let me get a few cards from here. I got a couple other things. I'll try to get through these kind of quick, unless Spirit really just pinpoints any particular message that feels like something that needs to be strongly discussed. That's really wanting to make me shuffle here. Come on. What else would you like the collective to know, please? Okay, so we have the happy card. So great. So this is like the sun energy. Yeah, and that's tied to that excitement card. Yeah, going the distance here. So Spirit is saying it's like, it's, again, going back to the analogy of knowing the season. Spirit is saying some of you have made an assumption about your current circumstances, like whether it's a lack of growth, a lack of interest, you're not seeing, if you're selling a product, or you're trying to start a YouTube channel, or you're starting a job or a side hustle, and you're just not seeing a lot of interest. It's not gaining traction. People are, they're not showing like they want to, buy anything, right? It just seems like a desert out there. Like, like I'm doing everything I know to do, and I don't feel like there's any growth. I don't feel like there's any interest. And Spirit is saying, don't confuse the current season as being the forever situation, right? It's like there's just a season where, right this very minute, it may not be the explosive growth season. It may not be the height, right? Like the economy is not doing well right now. We have inflation. The housing market is crap. The interest rates are crap, right? Like there's a season that we're all in collectively, at least in America, it's not good, but it's just a season. There's always ups and there's always downs. And where we're going and what these cards are saying, so we have go the distance and we have happy. Spirit is saying don't stop moving, don't stop going, don't stop growing, don't stop building, don't stop believing, like the Journey song. Because the happy and exciting times are right around the corner. Like we're on the precipice of the it's like a turning point where everything is going to turn, everything is going to shift, and it's going to be shocking. So the people that hold on and keep going, don't give up, don't allow the current circumstances or the lack of circumstances or whatever to dissuade you, to distract you, or to make you believe that, hey, nothing's going to happen, so why should I bother? Spirit is saying, go the distance, keep going, like, because we're about to hit the jackpot, the happy times here, right? The Sun card. And look, deep knowing is here. This is confirmation. It's tied to the moon, which is intuition. It's tied to the divine feminine energy here that's on the table, and that's exactly what it's saying. And we have, for some reason, we have the number 47 twice on the table here. So I'm just taking a look at everything. Yeah, we have the number 47 twice here. And it's the 15th, and we have 15. So between now and the next month and a half, if I round up, we'll say the next 60 days, there's going to be some changes occurring, right? So for some of you who've been waiting and holding out for changes, again, money, job, business, love, relationships, anything really, there's going to be some changes. Our responsibility is to not get stuck in our head about, well, nothing's happening now. And for some of you, like myself, in regards to certain areas of your life, you've been waiting for something. You've been waiting for a specific change regarding a certain area of your life that hasn't been changing. And for some of you, it's been years, like myself, and it's felt like, man, this season is never going to freaking end, right? It's like riding in the back seat of the car. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Finally, you shut up and you're like, you know what? We're never going to be there. So you finally just concede. It's like, there's no point in even asking anymore. And it's that moment, the moment where you stop and you're just like, I'm not, whatever, like we're never going to get there. And all of a sudden you're there, right? Well, that's where we're at. The reason that we're going the distance here is because, look, we're almost at the finish line. Like, this is how close we are. And so between now and the next 43 days, because we have the number 43, the number 47 twice. So between now and the next 47 days, we're going to round up and say just 2 months, 60 days between now and the next 2 months. So July, August, whatever that is for you, it'll be, summertime here in the Northern Hemisphere. There's going to be some major changes here. So that's Leo season. August is Leo season. Between now and Leo season, there's going to be some major changes. But what comes before Leo season? We still have to get through Gemini because we're in Taurus. So Gemini season's coming up in like a week? It's the 15th. So about a week from now, we'll be moving into Gemini season. And then we'll be moving into Cancer in July. So for some of you, you guys have something coming up as soon as next month, June, Gemini season. For others of us, you have something coming up in Cancer season, all right, which covers essentially that 60 days that I was talking about, all right? But if you give up, you allow your mind, the Eight of Swords BS, to make you stop, then you might miss out on it, right? So this is essentially saying that, you need to trust your intuition right now. Stop listening to this up here, the devil in our brain that wants to keep us safe, wants us to give up and all that kind of stuff, the voices in our mind. and start listening to your spirit. That's what this is saying. Some of you know this. There's a deeper knowing here. And if you don't, and you need reassurance, the deep knowing card is saying that that is available to you if you go in, however you do. If it's a meditation, whatever you do. If some of you guys need to get a reading from another reader that you trust, then do it, right? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with getting confirmation for yourself. I pull cards for myself every day. I mean, obviously I have many decks, but these tarot cards are in my hands every single day, right? From the day that I started tarot 2 years ago, every day I've had these cards in my hand without fail. And that's how you get good at things. Repetition is the mother of skill, but it's also how you learn to trust yourself, how you have a relationship with your cards, all of that kind of stuff, right? But there are times where even though I feel confident and sure that my cards are not lying to me, which I'm way past that now. I'm way past the skepticism phase. But there's certain things that will come out that can be confusing still, right? That's normal. And so, I have somebody that I go to, that I trust, that I respect, and I know she's a badass, know she's accurate, and I trust her readings. In fact, that's one of the reasons I even got into tarot was because of how, how talented she actually is, how accurate she is. And I will get a reading from her, and just as to check my own work, right? So some of you might need to do that, right? Spirit is encouraging you to do that. Have somebody in your network that you trust who can help you when you feel like you're not being able to tune in. It's like, man, I just can't tune in. I can't sense. I can't feel, because sometimes that's hard for empaths, right? We can feel for other people. We can sense. We can read. We can tune into other people, but sometimes it's hard for ourselves because we become too attached to things going on in our own life, whereas we don't care about what's going on in other people's life for the most part. And I don't mean that in an insensitive way, but you're not emotionally invested in somebody else's life the same way you are your own, is what I'm trying to say, right? And so we create resistance because of our attachments. And that's what Spirit is saying, is like, if you need somebody to read for you, to help you, tune back in, allow them to do that. All right. So, but this is good. This is all good. This is saying, don't give up, keep going, stay out of your head. The next 60 days, things are about to get really happy. Exciting times are coming, and you can know it. You can bank on it. And at the bottom of this deck, we have peace. Okay. Which is a change from all tied up in this prisoner energy, right? So we're about to go into the promised land, the land of peace, is what I'm getting. So let's, all right, so I'm gonna just take a look really quick at some, see if there's any messages that want to come out on this deck. And then I'm gonna pull a couple of surrender cards just to take a look at what we need to know, what we need to focus on. And again, the majority energy. This won't resonate for everybody, but I'll pull three surrender cards for the majority, which should apply to about 80% of us. And then I'll pull some advice. And we'll see what shows up there. And then I've got a couple of business cards, which I'll just pull just for those of us who are actually, trying to start a spiritual business where you're actually either wanting to go full-time into a spiritual business, or you have a spiritual business full-time, whatever that looks like, or just business in general, your life, your money. Okay. So the trust card just came out, which is just more confirmation, right? The trust card. So we have deep knowing now, and go the distance, right? And then, so this is all again tied to intuition, the divine feminine. So this is just Spirit coming back and saying again, like, yeah, trust yourself, but trust me, like again, it may seem like nothing is happening right now, no matter what you do. It's like, you could put in, 100 hours, into something, blood, sweat, and tears. You could put 10 hours into something, blood, sweat, and tears, and the result feels like it would be the same, right? For some of you, that's what it feels like. And Spirit's saying, trust, keep going. We're coming around the corner. We're almost at the finish of this cycle, whatever this is. And there's a whole new, there's that whole new ground, fertile ground that's, we're about to strike oil, right? That abundance, that inheritance is waiting there for us to tap into. It's there. It's almost like the reward for making it through, for those who had the stamina, the staying power, and the resilience to get through this difficult time. Those who go the distance and complete the marathon. It doesn't matter who's first or last, because it's not a competition. If you go out and you sign up for a 20K, it doesn't matter if you're first place or last place. What matters is that you finish the race. That's what Spirit's saying. It's like, just go the distance. And not to sound cheesy, but everybody gets the access to the same reward in this race, because this isn't an actual competition. It's not the Olympics. You're not competing for the gold medal. It's like you're just competing with yourself and your fears and your challenges to get through the barriers into the promised land where the peace is and the happy times and the blessings and all the good shit. Man, it's really making me shuffle. Give me one more card, please. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so reconsider came out here. So there's something, and immediately when it came out, this isn't going to apply to all of you, okay? This isn't going to apply to all of you, but for a lot of you, I do feel that this is relationship-based. This could go two ways. Now, some of you could have somebody that you're dealing with who wants you to reconsider them. So somebody coming back into your life, could be anybody. I do feel it's more probably, for the majority of people, it's probably more of a romantic type of connection. It doesn't have to be, but that's just what the majority that I get. This person is going to come back, and you will have an opportunity to reconsider if you want them in your life or not. Okay. Or this is just an energy of having to you needing to reconsider a current situation that you're in. In other words, it's if you're in a toxic situation and that's the reason why you're not moving forward, is because you know that being with this other person or having this other energy in your life is sapping you dry. You feel like crap. You feel like you don't get along. It's just constant conflict, or it's affecting your self-worth, your value. You don't feel appreciated. You feel stuck. It's just a bad situation. Well, obviously, you need to reconsider that, is what Spirit's saying. And obviously, it's your free will. We all have free will, but it's a very direct message here. Like, if it's not serving you, then it's limiting you, and you're gonna miss it. Like you're missing out on the life that you really want by holding on to this energy that has no, it's not adding value to your life. It's not helping you get to where you need to be. So take the lesson from the relationship and move on. It's basically kind of what I feel for that energy. All right, so let's take a look now at, I'm going to pull 3 surrender cards here. And then I'll pull a couple of the career cards just to see what those say here. And then maybe close it all out with just some final advice, a couple of tarot cards for final advice. Give me 3 cards here. What does the collective need to... Okay. Yeah. I can't make this shit up. Okay. So I'm going to get one more. But the first one is surrender to play. So this is like... Some of you guys are or just, you've been overworking, working too much. You've been so focused on the seriousness of doing the spiritual work, that we get lost in it, right? It's like, and consistency is good, 100%, staying on top of it, pumping. If you're a reader and you have a YouTube channel, right? It's like putting out content. Well, it's like after a while, if you're not careful, it starts to feel robotic, and potentially you could get burnt out. You have to have an energy coming into you as well. You need to have something that's feeding back into you, especially right now during this kind of like a winter period where you may not be seeing the harvest for the seeds that you planted yet. So you're going to have to, you're going to have to find a way to fill your energy, and kind of tap into a positive energy from a different source. And so this card is basically saying, like, it's time to go out and have fun and play and be goofy and, let your hair down, in that regard, because that will fill your tank back up. Even though it may not be the type of success or abundance or growth that we're wanting from the business side of things, but we need to get it from somewhere. So this card says, take a break from overthinking a goal, right? We talked about the overthinking energy on the table. Play is a time of recreation and rejuvenation. Yeah. It's like, hey, when we start overthinking things too much, then we're creating more of it, because that's, where our thoughts and our attention goes, our energy flows, right? And so that's what we create, because we are the creators. And so do we want to create more of this crap? No, I'm not this crap down here all tied up. No, we want more of this. We want things to be fun and playful and exciting. And so that's what Spirit's saying. It's like, hey, go pour into fun, exciting, and playful things, which will free up that distracted mental energy, and you'll start to feel like yourself again, right? Things won't feel so heavy and so intense. And I'm guilty of this, by the way, right? So this, like I said, this reading is basically just as much for me as it is for you guys. Okay, now this was the one that I said, you can't make this shit up, because I was talking about reconsidering a relationship, and intuitively I said this reconsider energy I felt was specifically about a relationship. Well, now we have surrender to unhealthy relationships, right? So let go of relationships that don't serve you, including unavailable or toxic people. You deserve to be treasured by others and to be surrounded by positive people. Yeah, so we all get what we tolerate, and Spirit is saying, stop tolerating this toxic shit. It's not, if it's not serving you, it's not serving you, then it's past its expiration date. Doesn't mean you have to be angry or continue in that energy. You can simply disconnect from it. You can be thankful for the spiritual lesson that you've learned, or what I like to call finding the treasure in the pile of shit, and then move on and don't have to worry about that anymore. Now, again, this doesn't have to be romantic relationships. For most of you, it will be. Like 80% of you, 75, 80% of you, this will be a romantic person. For the rest of you, this could be any unhealthy relationship with a boss, a family member, your children, even if there's a toxic thing going on there, whatever it is, you guys will know what that is. All right, so give me one more. One more surrender card, please. I'm feeling too like I wouldn't be surprised if this card comes out, but something about needing to be, surrender to being ourselves, like no longer holding back and hiding who we really are, especially not in a time like this. Okay, now I know there's a card like that in this deck, and if it decides to come out, it'd be pretty awesome. If not, it's just an extra intuitive message. One more for the collective, please. All right, let me grab the one. And at the bottom of the deck, we have surrender to stubbornness. So some of you that are being really stubborn about something, stop it. I can be extremely stubborn. I'll try not to be anymore. Okay, surrender your addictions. Now, for some of you, I'm going to tell you, this Surrender Your Addictions card is right out there to toxic relationships, trauma bonds. So this is yet a third confirmation saying, hey, some of you guys have finding it really difficult to let go of toxic relationships. Sorry, I didn't want to sneeze. They're trauma bonds. And some of you guys, I'm just going to be real here. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm going to always keep it real on my channel. Some of you think that you found your twin flame, right? But the person that you think is your twin flame isn't. They're actually just an intense trauma bond, and you're confusing the intensity of the trauma bond for what you think the intensity of a twin flame relationship would be, when that's actually a distortion. That's not true. Okay. And it's unfortunate that a lot of generalities and stereotypes get injected into this whole twin flame concept, and it can be confusing, right? And so some of us don't really know because we don't have anything to compare it to, because there's only supposed to be one twin flame. It's very difficult. And I've been there. I've made that mistake. Like I've been with, I was with a woman once many years ago after my divorce, and there was all these spiritual connections and signs and synchronicities and crazy things. I mean, I could write a book about the crazy stuff that happened between me and this woman. And I didn't know that there was such a thing as twin flames back then. And then, after she broke up with me and I was still obsessing over her for a couple of years, I obsessed over her still. And then I found out about twin flames. I was like, oh my gosh, that's who she is. She had to be my twin flame. And then she went out and she got married, and I still was thinking like, oh, it doesn't matter. She's my twin flame. She'll have to come back. Like I bought into it hook, line, and sinker, man. And really all it was a trauma bond. That was it. And, when I got honest with myself and I got real with myself, and I had a spiritual mentor and a spiritual coach who was very gifted, who helped me realize that it wasn't who I thought it was, and I got my wits about me, I learned a valuable lesson through all of that. Unfortunately, it took me several years to learn that lesson, but I did learn that lesson. So the reason I'm sharing this with you is because I've been there. I've made that mistake. Some of you guys are you're falsely identifying this toxic trauma bond that you have with this person. And you actually go research what a trauma bond is, because it's very confusing. And you will think that you're with your twin flame because it's so intense, right? But that's what an addiction is. It's intense. A true twin flame connection is not going to have the same type of characteristics, qualities, or intensity of a trauma bond, right? And no matter what you read, it can sound that way, right? When you're reading about twin flame connections, because they're supposed to be so intense and this and, all these crazy things, right? But it's different. Okay. And I know I can't, this isn't the video for me to try to explain all of this in, because I'm not talking about that in this video. I'm doing a reading. But anyways, the point is, some of you think you're with a twin flame. It's not. It's a trauma bond, and that's why it's so addicting. Now, for the rest of you, this could be either just general addictions to food or medicating, for emotional reasons, comforting yourself, right? Escapism, right? Whatever that is. Maybe you drink a little bit too much. Maybe you get sad, or you start taking on other people's energy as an empath, and you emotionally eat. You emotionally medicate some way. Maybe you drink, right? I don't sense anything really major outside of what I said about the toxic relationship things here, okay? So, but it's there. You guys know. If you're 100% honest with yourself, you'll know what that energy is. All right. So let me just pull a couple cards here. These are career type cards here. Just pull a few, whatever wants to come out real quick. And then I'll pull some closing advice with a couple tarot cards, and then we'll just go ahead and close out the reading. And hopefully this has been beneficial for those of you who are spiritual teachers, readers. And if you know anybody else that is, please feel free to share this with them, and know that I will be doing more of these that are specific to us in that way, versus the other types of readings that I do on my channel that are for the collective. Give me 3 cards, please. Give me some information here for my brothers and sisters out there and the collective. What do you want them to know? Okay, a card called Wisdom just came out. Long term just came out. I will read what the cards say. Give me one more, please. Okay, give and take. And at the bottom we have success. Success says, the path you are on will bring you success and prosperity if you just keep going, which is what we had over here, go the distance. So that's, I don't know what, triple confirmation. Lots of little steps take you a long way. You're on track. So again, don't be confused because you're not seeing anything happen yet. Don't let the current season confuse you that there's not, the work and effort and what you've been putting in is all for naught. That's not true. Things are happening behind the scene. We're not seeing it yet. Okay, so we have the wisdom card. You are called to serve as a mentor for someone or as a role model and guide who can show the way. Use your wisdom and experience. Yeah, that's all of us, right? That's what this reading is for. People that are here to be spiritual teachers, mentors, guides, things of that nature. Give and take. Be open to giving and receiving to keep the flow of abundance going. Give someone a chance and ask for what your heart desires. Right? Now, this could be tied to that reconsider energy. For some of you who have somebody coming back who, in hindsight, has realized, hey, I effed up. I screwed up. This person comes back and they're a different person and they've changed and they actually add value to your life. It's, with the reconsider energy and this give and take energy, it's saying, hey, it's okay to consider that person. It's okay to reconsider that person. If they've really changed, then it's a green light. Spirit's giving you a green light saying, yeah, proceed forward, learn from your past mistakes, proceed forward with caution, but it's okay to proceed forward nonetheless. And then we have long-term. An opportunity could turn into a long-term career move, or you will be asked to commit to a position in exchange for more money. Yeah, so this is just confirmation again that again we're almost at the end of this long drought. We're almost at the end of this race. And that for those of you who've been waiting for business to pick up, waiting for customers, waiting for sales, waiting for more views, waiting for more, whatever it is that you've been waiting for, it's saying you're about to strike oil here with this long-term card. All right. So, I'll just pull some final advice here for the collective. Anything else, any closing advice here for the collective before we close this read, please? Just 3 cards and a bottom card to close out the reading here for the collective. What would you like the collective to know? What do they need to know most besides what's already been spoken on the table here? What do you want the collective to know the most? Okay, we have the 2 of Pentacles. We have the Hierophant. One more in a bottom card, please. So far, we've got 2 different, the cards are speaking to 2 different situations. One's about relationships and one's about just your general life and your spiritual business. One more in a bottom card, please. Yeah, five of swords. And the Empress at the bottom of the deck, which is tied right back here to the divine feminine energy here, which this is everything. So we're ending the reading where we began the reading with this divine feminine energy, the Empress energy, abundance, creation, right? Self-worth, you knowing your worth, standing in your worth, but not giving up on your intuition, not giving up on the things that you're creating, not giving up on the things that are wanting to give birth and come forth through us, right? As we are in our Empress energy. Okay, so the rest of the message here, so we got the Two of Pentacles, we've got the Hierophant, Taurus energy, then we have the Five of Swords. So basically, I'll start on the relationship side of things. So this is tied to the reconsider energy, okay? Someone who maybe you were in a commitment with in the past, with the Hierophant, somebody you're not, and at one point, you guys were in a serious committed relationship. Things didn't really go very well. Five of Swords in the past, right? Too much conflict. It didn't work out. Well, this person, again, not for those of you that this resonates with, there's a reconsider energy, and it's going to be up to you to decide what you want to do with the Two of Pentacles. It's up to you. Double Taurus energy with the Empress, Taurus Libra, with the Empress at the bottom of the deck, and then of course the Hierophant energy here. So could be Libra, could be Taurus, could be any sign, but I'm just going to mention that. I'm going to take a peek. Yeah. Underneath the Empress, we have the Six of Swords. Underneath that, we have the Hangman. So this is something that this could potentially be somebody you haven't heard from in a really long time. Somebody maybe you let go of, or you walked away from, like, hey, I'm not really expecting to see this person, or maybe even hear from this person. So there's that. All right. So besides the relationship and the reconsideration part of this, this is about getting your life in order. For the rest of us, this is about getting our life in order, and now is the time to balance anything that needs to be balanced in your life, because the ups and downs of life, these waves back here behind this man's legs, or the ships and the waves in the background, the waves are about to calm down. This tumultuous time that's been kind of wild and crazy, a lot of uncertainty and all the craziness is about to chill out, about to come into smooth times here, smooth sailing. We're almost done with this stormy weather, so to speak, these difficult times. And so this is about getting your life in order, figuring out what you need to prioritize, checks and balances, all that kind of stuff, so that we're not going to be juggling, we're not going to be caught off guard when the opportunities arise. Because once we come around that turn, that corner, and then boom, here come all those opportunities that you didn't think were going to be there. It might catch you off guard. You might not feel prepared for it. Because if you're staying, in this victim mentality, this Eight of Swords energy all tied up, all of a sudden, boom, here are the opportunities. You don't want to be sitting on the sidelines boo-hooing when the opportunities show up. You want to be ready, right? It's like you want to be that guy that was in the gym in the off season, like preparing for game day. It's like, I know game day is coming up, so I'm going to be ready for it, where everybody else might not have been. I was like, hey, it's not game day yet. I don't have to work out. I don't need to do anything. And then when game day shows up, they're like, man, crap, I feel like shit. I'm out of shape. I can't play, right? But not you, because you were anticipating it. You were working out. You were getting ready, right? And then here we are as the spiritual teacher. So this really, the Hierophant here is representing us doing our purpose and our call. This is us in our power, mentoring, teaching, and spreading our spiritual knowledge, using our spiritual gift for the collective. This is us doing the thing that we get to do in our abundance, in our power, doing what we love. And then this card talks about making sure that we're not self-sabotaging. So this is what we need to avoid here. We need to stay out of this self-sabotaging Six of Swords energy, which is tied to that Eight of Swords energy that's on the table, and we need to stay in our Empress energy, right? We want to be in Empress energy and Six of Swords energy. We're here for smooth sailing, calmer waters, the peace and calm of the mind, right? Not the Five of Swords. We want Six of Swords, not the Five of Swords. Empress energy and Six of Swords. Chill, calm, peace of mind, clarity, not self-sabotaging crap, okay? So that's the reading that I have for you guys. Went a little bit longer than I anticipated. I was going to really try to keep it around, I don't know, 45 minutes, maybe an hour tops. I wasn't looking at the time, and I let it get well over that, but that's fine. You know, hopefully there's something here. Whoever sees this, there's some type of value here for that, or for you in this reading. But let me know. If you haven't already, please like, share, and comment. I love seeing the comments. And just, yeah, I will have more readings like this in the future. Hopefully not as long. We'll just keep playing with it and you know, see what it turns into here. But it's a different type of reading for me than I'm used to doing. But I've been feeling led to do this reading, prioritize this over, you know, the other things. So hopefully there's something here for you guys. But that's what I have for you guys. As always, my friends, I appreciate you all. Love and light, and I'll see you on the next one.